On our debate today, I'm excited to have Jan Rogers, advisor at LVMH, and Kareen Mallet, co-founder Replika Software, a social selling solution for the retail, fashion, luxury, and beauty industries. She has an extensive experience in both corporate and startup environments. So I've had the pleasure to have a chat with them 2 days ago. So listen to them. So I'm joined by Jan Rogers and Kareen Mallet. It's great to have you both on the show. I'm happy to connect with you. The topic today is the future of customer experience. So we're going to have a quick chat. But before that, briefly, could you introduce yourselves? Maybe Kareen first.
I am Kareen Mallet. I am the co-founder of Replika Software, a social selling solution. I am based in New York City.
And my name is Ian Rogers, and for 5 years I was the Chief Digital Officer at LVMH, and still working with LVMH on a consulting basis.
So before we start, probably I know that everybody is know a lot about the company LVMH in general, but for those who don't know about your program and the Innovation Award, we spoke about that in the previous show with Olivier during our show with Israel, but maybe our US audience are not all familiar with it. So probably Jan, briefly tell us about this award.
Sure. So this is something that we started back in 2017. And the goal really was to have an annual and really a kind of a rhythmic relationship with startups. We all talk to startups every day as part of the normal course of doing business, but we wanted to find a way to find the best startups in our space every single year. And I think from my perspective, it's been incredibly successful and effective. We kind of, put ourselves up to the challenge of meeting the best startups in our space. It's really a lot of work. And it's something that I think without this commitment, and resources, the resource commitment that it takes, we'd have a hard time doing every year. But now we have, well over 1,000, really more than 1,200 startups every year. And we also just try to get better at it every year. I think for the first years, the winners have been kind of all of the companies who have come and been at Viva Technology with us. And this year we're trying to make trying to make the sorting or the parsing of those startups more successful and more specific by awarding winners in each of the categories that are important to us. So that includes data and artificial intelligence, omnichannel and retail, media and brand awareness, employee experience, excellence in operations and manufacturing, and also sustainability. So we're really, what we're doing this year is taking kind of a category focus to try to find, because we have such a wide variety of startups applying every year, that we wanted to, to try to instead of picking a winner out of a very varied group, it's almost, truly impossible and maybe not fair. This year we wanted to take a more structured approach and award in these categories.
That's fantastic. Kareen, this is exactly how you met. You were part of the program actually of this challenge. So could you probably share with us how it happened? How did you end participating in this challenge?
Yes, of course. So it all started in 2019. We applied and we were selected as finalists for the Innovation Award and invited to join LVMH at Viva Tech. And then for us, the Innovation Award really put us on the map, not only with the Maison of LVMH, but also to the entire industry. So for a young startup back then, it changed our development dramatically in terms of business opportunity. And then we were invited to participate in La Maison des Startups, the LVMH accelerator at Station F. And this is where we had the opportunity to deepen our relationship with some of the Maisons like Sephora and Dior Parfum. And today we are still part of this accelerator as alumni, and I go there every 3 weeks.
So maybe a quick word about Replika. So what do you guys do concretely?
So concretely, we are a social selling app and for brands to activate their own network of social sellers. It can be sales associates, it can be ambassador of the brand, and they can inspire and sell online directly with our app.
Brilliant. So how does a startup like, Replika help a giant like, LVMH reinvent luxury experience, and especially during the pandemic, during this context, which is quite challenging?
So
I mean,
in
I
the
think,
okay.
oh, go ahead, Kareen. I'll answer after.
In the example of Sephora, we had long discussion with them, and they decided to activate their sales associates and their network of brand ambassadors and fans of the brand with a tool to activate them to sell and inspire on.
And in a sales channel that is incredibly important at this moment. So we had, I think, some confluence on the timing side as well, because we had started a relationship with Replika. They were really adding a third sales channel to us. So in addition to retail and web, we have the social selling channel, the kind of person-to-person selling channel. And then a year ago, as we all know, we all, and many of our brands and Sephora included, we said, oh no, we really, we've lost one of those sales channels, in many cases, the sales channel of retail. So of course, a lot of weight falls on the other two channels, and it was very fortuitous that we had built this relationship with Replika in the preceding years, and we were able to really call them in as reinforcements to help us during a pretty critical time.
So, Kareen, just to get back to when you were talking about Sephora. So you were working with Sephora since last year, I think. So we missed a little bit of what you were saying, maybe with the sound. So could you just say a quick word about that? How did it start?
So we were introduced to the president of Sephora through La Maison des Startups, and we had long brainstorming session with them about empowering actually the fan of the brand to be able to share their love of the brand, but also to participate in the sale. So the concept we presented to them was to empower both the employee and the ambassadors to really inspire those customers online. So we created a white label of our app called My Sephora Store. And right now, anyone who goes on the website can download this application, create and share shoppable boards, and then get paid for their sales.
Well, yeah, and this is what you were saying. It's amazing. It's really a new range of opportunities there. Was a quick word about this collaboration.
Yeah, I mean, from our perspective, it's new business. It's a new channel for sales, and really it couldn't have come at a better time.
And Kareen, any learning experience? There are many startups watching us today. So what did you learn really?
So for us, what we learned is that we realized that for creating a successful social selling program was not just about giving those social seller an application or solution, but was also for the brand to actively managing and engaging this community. So our partnership with Sephora goes really beyond just the technology. And in terms of working with LVMH, we really noticed that there's a massive acceleration of digital adoption, really based on customer expectation now, and that social selling maybe was a futuristic scenario pre-COVID for LVMH, but now it's a real need.
Right, and probably this it's a question for both of you. It's not surprising, but it's quite exciting to see like startups working with a huge giants, and we're seeing this more and more. So at the end of the day, to all the startups who are watching us today, so there's size is not an issue. It's about what you do together to grow.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, I think, go ahead, Kareen. I was going to say that it really is. I think you need to really understand kind of what each company does differently, right? I mean, and try to bring those together into something that's meaningful. I mean, just because a company's big doesn't mean it's not entrepreneurial. I think that it's less about a company being big. I mean, I worked at very big companies, America Online, Yahoo, and Apple. But that's not really what people mean when they talk about big companies, I don't think. I think what they really mean is they mean kind of incumbents versus, you know, people who are creating new businesses. And I think the thing to remember, especially at a place like LVMH, what you have is you have a collection of businesses that are quite entrepreneurial, but they are accustomed to an old model, right? So I think that what a group like LVMH needs is they need exposure to startups, you know, like Replika, who bring in new ways of doing things, and then, you know, the organizations can change because they've added something that the organization wasn't doing on their own previously.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. So Kareen, you wanted to add something?
No, for us, these partnerships really has been terrific. I mean, it changed the trajectory of our company. You know, after our successful launch with Sephora, we were able to engage with dozens of brands and expand around the globe. And it also led to a successful Series A that we did with both LVMH Luxury Ventures and L'Oréal Bold, which is the first time these two groups invested together in a startup. So we are forever grateful, you know, to the Innovation Award, to La Maison des Startups, to the innovation team for really believing in us and, you know, embracing our vision of humanizing online shopping through social selling.
That's brilliant. So, Jan, maybe getting back to what you were already saying earlier on, probably a few examples of, you know, startups in the US that you're collaborating with.
Sure. I mean, there have been so many. Like I said, we've had, you know, kind of 1,200 a year in recent years, that we see, and that we narrow that down to the 30 who join us at the Innovation Award. But then we have kind of another, you know, 25 per semester at Station F, and then we have our retail lab. So it's really quite a bit. But if I had to focus on just a couple from the US, I would name Flashbrand, which is a startup around employee experience that's based in San Francisco. It's like a whole new generation of tools that give continuous feedback, e-learning, intelligent digital coaching, et cetera. So, you know, Louis Vuitton has been working with them to build a performance management tool for their employees. So that's really exciting. And then another example I would point to is 3Kit, which is based in Chicago. 3D visualizations and augmented reality that's around e-commerce. So you can showcase product visually all across the omni-channel journey. So whether that's on your e-commerce, on your website, or in store, or maybe the things that are happening between sales associates when they're, you know, clienteling, we call it, but really that means just kind of texting between sales associate and customers. So really trying to give people, you know, a more tangible, experiential look at the product in these things. So there's lots of things around sustainability, new materials, recommendations, data and AI, et cetera. But you know, if I have to name a couple, I start with that.
Brilliant. So really, my last question to you both. So I will start with Kareen for that. So Kareen, the journey has been exciting. So I can hear from what you said from the beginning. So you know, there are so many startups watching us today. So probably, as you know, as from your experience, and what tip, what advice, what can you tell them if you had to say something to the startups watching us? What would you say?
So I would tell them, you know, when you work with a big group, just really listen to what's their problem, what they want to address, and try to find solution with them. I mean, our biggest, you know, we have long conversation with some of the maisons we work with, and it's really understanding the customer journey and trying to figure it out. Sometimes we don't have everything in our solution, but how we can solve rapidly this issue and just really adapt and to the need of the maison.
And Jan, same question to you. So what piece of advice, you know, would you give for those, you know, who can help, you know, LVMH Maison to improve their customer journey?
I think the main thing is to apply, to be a part of the program. I mean, I think it starts much earlier than that, though, right? Because, you know, first you have to build something, and you have to build something that is meaningful and valuable. And so I don't want to take anything away from all of the things that happen before you apply. But, you know, if you have that thing that you think will be useful to us, then we would love to hear from you. I mean, what I can say is that the team does really a lot of work to try to sort through, and it's a very difficult job to try to sort through all of the applications that we get and to try to figure out, you know, which you know, when you, again, you're staring at more than 1,000 startups, and you can only pick a handful. It's a really tough job. So I think definitely reach out to us and really try to show us very clearly what it is you think the applicability of what you do is. Because again, just imagine the person who's on the other side of that screen that has to choose you over a whole lot of other people. So I'd say, first of all, do something relevant, but then please tell us about it. We really do want to work with great entrepreneurs and great companies in our space.
That's brilliant. Well, thank you to both of you. It was great sharing, and I hope to see you in June. Hopefully, fingers crossed, to see you in June in Paris. Kareen and Jan, thank you so much.
I hope so too. I hope we're all there in person, vaccinated and healthy.
Yes, hopefully. I don't know where we will be by then, but we hope to see you there. And thank you for your time. It was great chatting with you today.